All right. Stage is set.
Stage is
I'm
set.
ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
All right.
You know it.
Quarterback number 40. Who you got?
4-0. I mean, the one of the ultimate backups, one of the best backups in football, a guy that I certainly would give some dollars to be that backup is Case Keenum. Case Keenum to me is, a professional as far as a guy you can depend on to be that backup quarterback, has no weaknesses in his game, okay? Yes, and why he's 40 or a backup quarterback, yeah, maybe there's no elite thing about his game either. But Case Keenum is a high-level backup that we already know can be a starter and take over for a team. And if the team's right, you don't miss much or miss a beat at all to a degree. I mean, listen, we saw him go to the NFC Championship with the Vikings. Case Keenum's a perfect fit in Cleveland, but can do it all. Hey, he's got experience. A little bit of an athlete, certainly. Can get out of the pocket, move around the pocket, throws the ball well in the run. Not going to wow you with arm power, but every throw is got good pace. It's a perfect spiral, puts the ball where he wants to, has experience playing the game, and he can make an off-schedule play from time to time.
Next handful of picks here.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
We are going to get a little younger.
Right, we're going to get younger.
Number 39.
Number 39, Big Justin Fields, Ohio State, Chicago Bears starting quarterback. Hey, I know I was one of the negative guys on Justin Fields in the draft process. I'm sorry. There's still a lot that I really like about Justin Fields. Yes, is he a guy that could be on here and play and make a huge jump by the time we get to week 10? No doubt about it. He's got that type of talent. But we'll see. He scares me, just like he did in the draft process, for me to put him too much higher in the rankings. Special running ability, like we've talked about. We know the arm is top-notch, and when you piece it all together, hey, he can do some stuff on a highlight reel where you just go, whoa, wow, holy crapola, Batman. I mean, he's got all the tools to be the superstar. Now it's just going to have to be putting it together. That's why he's 39. Hey, he's got the potential to be a top 20 guy halfway through the year. I mean, he really does. But he's got some other issues where I'd go, I don't know. I mean, he could fall down farther 39 if it got to the bad aspect that scares me. So that's where, Justin Fields is at 39. I need to see a little more info before I make a jump with him or anything like that. My issues. The throwing mechanics are really the biggest issues, the inconsistencies there. Too many slam dunk NFL completions that were left as incomplete in the college game, that bothered me. So he is a little bit of a boomer bust type prospect. I'm rooting for him, even though people think I'm a hater on him. I don't root against these guys.
Right.
But yes, there's got to be things that he's got to clean up and I got to see first before I can put him in front of some of these other guys.
I like the aggressive stance here.
Thanks.
Speaking of, quarterback 38.
Yeah. Same type of guy. Trey Lance, though, 49ers. Yes, North Dakota State. He will be quarterback number 38. Hey, a lot of the same conversations that we had with Justin Fields. Hasn't played as much football, but I love the top-end talent. And there is more consistency with Trey Lance's throwing. Now, it still needs work. There's no doubt about that. And we're going to get into breaking down some of those type of things. But either way, like we talked about with Fields, Lance has some special attributes. We know that. The running is real once again. I mean, it's real. He can make people miss. He can outrun you. He's got good size and strength to even take on some people if he's got to lower a shoulder or run into some trash. His arm, like a Justin Fields too, it's really powerful. It's really powerful. And I would say really in a lot of ways more powerful than Justin Fields because there is a little more consistency with the mechanics and controlling of the football to where, he can throw it hard and still control it. Fields can throw it hard and sometimes control it. Other times you're going, no, that's not good. So that's the reason Lance is in front of Fields. But yes, I still have questions with the lack of playing time, the mechanical issues, the consistency hitting some passes that you go, wait, hey, you're the number 3 pick in the draft. I'm not supposed to see like that many. The guy had to go to the ground or turn around or we just missed that throw altogether. Those are the things I got to see them improve a little bit before I can make these guys, top 25 type talents or quarterbacks in the NFL. But, I mean, everybody should know who's coming. It's Kellen Mond. Yeah, of course I got Kellen Mond in front of those two guys. He was in front of them for all my, draft rankings.
This is your From Fields to Lance to Mond, your 6th, 5th, and 4th best rookie
Exactly right.
Yeah.
6th, 5th, and 4th best quarterbacks. You've heard anybody that's been listening to me with my quarterback breakdowns in the draft. I mean, what have I been saying about Kellen Mond? He's one of the most NFL-ready guys. He plays in the pocket. I don't like the things that, again, I go back to with Kellen Mond. He was, in a lot of ways, him and Mac Jones might have been the most NFL-ready pocket passing quarterbacks. Not the best, not saying anything, but just purely, I had to play the game in the pocket, go through reads, make high-level, tight window completions, those type of things. Kellen Mond thrived that way. And you get to see a lot of it. So that's why I had Kellen Mond 4th in my quarterback rankings. And that was the big reason, is that I felt like, he's been playing NFL football. It's not going to be adjustment. He's got no mechanical issues. I think you heard me throughout the process. I was going, the only thing that's wrong with this guy is I just wish he would scramble a little more.
Yeah.
And maybe be a little more loose with the ball and not be so tight with it and all that. But those are easy fixes. He's in the perfect spot in Minnesota, an offense that really fits him, everything like that. But yes, being under Jimbo Fisher, playing on one of not the most dominant team in the SEC, I think Kellen Mond, if called upon, which I don't expect this year, but if so, I don't think Minnesota will have to change anything.
All right, 36. Who are we seeing?
36, a guy who was not on the list last year, but he has re-entered, and I'm not saying I was right to not have him on the list last year, but I had my questions. He made me feel a little bit better about him this year. Marcus Mariota, Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect from Marcus Mariota. Got benched in Tennessee. He is not the most pure passer throwing the football all the time, but again, what I'll say about Marcus Mariota that really jumped out to me in the game he got to play this year too, and everything like that. First off, I did think he threw the ball better. There's no doubt. Was it perfect? No. I mean, he throws an errant interception at the end of the game where you go, wait, you're too good to miss that throw. You can't do that. But there's still a presence on the field. That's the thing I'll say I gave Marcus Mariota a little like for that. He has a presence about him. He's a man in the pocket. He has been to the playoffs. He can lead people that way, and his skill set is still pretty special too. And we saw that in the one game. He had to come in and relieve for Derek Carr and everything like that. Hey, they ran the ball well. In a tough situation, he ran the ball well, and he made some big-time passes. In a game where it was a good defense, and they were down, and he drove them down to tie the game late in the fourth quarter, went into overtime, all of those type of things. But, under Gruden, do I feel like he had some growth in the pass game? Yeah, of course I do. I think he was probably taught things there. The way he looked as far in that one game, the things I know from out there in Las Vegas, and I think I probably underrated him a little last year in the top 40 quarterback countdown anyways.
35 for you is?
Oh, thy Tyrod Taylor. That's right, Tyrod Taylor. Hey, like I said about Case Keenum, this is one of the best backup quarterbacks in football, bridge quarterbacks, whatever you want to say. And, in a lot of ways, where I have him ahead of Case Keenum and a guy like that who I really appreciate Case Keenum and what he can do for a football team and his talents and all those things, Tyrod Taylor is the same in theory as that guy, except really has better physical talents. He's a little faster than Case Keenum. Has a bigger arm than Case Keenum. For me, he's the ultimate backup, too, in the fact that, he is one of those guys you could just throw out there, and he seems like, oh, no big deal. I'm still Tyrod Taylor, same expression on my face, and I can come in as a backup and throw the ball and move the team. But as we've seen him lead teams to the playoffs and do things like that. He's been in some unfortunate situations. But
like having his lung punctured last year?
That hurt, no doubt about it, right. I mean, that was a chance for Tyrod Taylor to maybe really fortify himself as being a starting quarterback in the NFL. He didn't get it. So it's
one
still
game.
He didn't even get the one game. He didn't, because it happened
after the first game.
Oh, yeah, right.
So after the first game.
So that, is crazy in that standpoint.
To number 34. Who was 40 last year. He's moving his way up, ladies and gentlemen.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Perfect.
I don't know if that was perfect, but I gave it my best shot. Again, another guy that I've been pitted against as I hate Tua. No. Rooting for Tua. Florio tried to stick up for me today. He's like, you love Tua. You love the guy. Like, because he's heard me say things behind the scenes when we've met him. Yes, I do. It doesn't mean I still am, can't question some of the things on the football field. Now Tua, listen, yeah, he rose from last year. He grew as a player. He got to play in the NFL. He did some good things. He played in some big moments, made some big throws in some big moments, had some big runs in some big moments. Arizona Cardinal game, I can remember that. Some of those great scrambles, the great touchdown run. So he got better as a football player, but I still have my questions. I do. First off, yeah, I'm going to put him in front of some of these other guys that we talked about. Yeah, he's played. I like his talent. I don't love it. You know that. Mm-hmm. But also, like when it gets nitpicky with some of these guys too, what do I do to separate? I go a little bit sometimes on what's the effect the guy has on the field as a leader? What's his presence like? Locker room? Does he give the team an edge? Those type of things. To me, that's where Tua brings something to the table a little more than Tyrod Taylor that way too. Mm-hmm. There is a charisma aspect that he brings to the field. And of course, he does have a presence on the field. He knows how to play the game. Even as a rookie here, he didn't mess up many situations. But Tua, just like I'm saying with Tyrod Taylor, it's the same type of conversation. It's got to get more aggressive.
In the top 33, your number 33 quarterback is?
Drew Lock, Denver Broncos. Yes. I mean, I like Drew Lock. You know that in a lot of ways. His high-end talent's real. I think people in Denver are panicking a little bit, or maybe what I want to say, just overly critical of the play I saw from Drew Lock last year. I know it wasn't perfect. I know that. He could take a page from the Tyrod, Tua. I'm not going to be so much of a gunslinger and understand how to manage a game a little bit. And not every throw has to be a 35-yard missile into double coverage. That's where Drew Lock's got to get better and just playing the position, taking what the defense gives you. But he does have a real upside to be a big-time quarterback. I thought that's what we were going to see more last year. Again, he was one of those guys that, you had to place off of limited information and things like that. But no, it wasn't a great year for him. There was certainly some moments of going like, hey, what the hell? Like, what you're going to make that throw or do that in this moment? No doubt about it. But I also think there were some moments of, a few games where I can go, wow, he played phenomenal football and did some really special type things.
Teddy Bridgewater, great guy, great addition to the Broncos. Sounds like it will be a good, healthy competition, which brings us to number 32 on your list.
Which is Teddy Bridgewater. That's right. And you shouldn't be shocked here. Yeah, I'm putting Teddy Bridgewater just a little above Drew Lock. I don't think his high-end talent is as good as Drew Lock. No, I don't. But I trust Teddy Bridgewater. He falls again into that category of like we talk about with Tyrod Taylor of like maybe not going to win you games, but not going to lose you games either.
We've seen that.
And there's value to that. And especially if, you're the quarterback of a Denver Bronco type team. But that's where I just trust him more than Drew Lock at this point. Again, yeah, I don't think he's got the potential to be the big play or, I look at Drew Lock as having a chance to maybe be a superstar in this league. Teddy Bridgewater has no chance of being that for me. But right now, I do think he's a better overall player than Drew Lock because of that. Yeah, reading coverages, knowing situations of games, doing things like that. He certainly doesn't make as many risky throws as Drew Lock has. And that's why, again, in my perfect world, my depth chart, I'd have Teddy Bridgewater coming off the bench, at 32 over Drew Lock just because of the trust tree factor. That's really all it comes down to here is just experience and trust and knowing Teddy Bridgewater as compared to a guy like Drew Lock where I'm not sure about. I love his top-end talent, but he scares the shit out of me every now and then too.
Yeah. We're not quite into the top 30. 31 is...
Jared Goff, Detroit Lions. Yeah.
My guy.
Yep. I don't know. I know that's your quarterback.
My quarterback.
Jared Goff. Hey, Jared Goff, there is experience. We know he's played in big games. But there's a number of questions about Jared Goff. I mean, certainly. First off, no redeeming, unbelievable physical qualities or traits, or you just go, oh, wow, what a great athlete, or oh, wow, what a great arm, or oh, wow, man, he can process and go through reads as quick as anybody in football. There is none of that. So that's why he is kind of 31 to me. Obviously, you can win games with him, but it has to be within a certain formula or a certain way, in my opinion, to win those games. And, so Jared Goff, listen, there is good arm strength. He can throw the ball hard and far, but it's one of the least catchable balls in the game, and it can be inaccurate at times.
And at 30 for you, Chris, is
Mac Jones. That's right. The New England Patriots. Yes, for me, he is one of the 32 best quarterbacks in football. And yes, I have him a spot ahead of Jared Goff. I understand that. Yes, but I look at Mac Jones, as you heard me say throughout the whole draft. He's the most NFL pro-ready quarterback to come out in the draft. He is. And one, I think he's tailor-made to play quarterback in the NFL anyways, for his style and everything he does about his physical attributes, his ability to process and read coverages and do all of those things. That's where I look at Mac Jones. Plus, I don't look at him as a normal rookie, to where, I don't think he's as talented as Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson, right, who we're going to see later on in these rankings. Yep. But I do think as far as NFL ready is concerned, and I think he is the most ready. And then when you talk about some of those attributes that people want to hate on all the time because he doesn't look that cool in the uniform, but they don't want to really look at the results for some reason. I mean, whether it's, out of the rookie class, you could say most accurate passer. I could say best in the pocket, working the pocket movement, all those things. Best decision maker. Best ability to quickly read and react and go through, coverages and diagnose plays that way. So from all those aspects, that's quarterback play in the NFL. One spot higher, only because of experience a little bit. I'm holding that in regard, and that's Andy Dalton. Yes, and I did not mean to make that segue before. I'm not that talented. I just brought that up. But, yes, Andy Dalton, Chicago Bears, here pictured on the podcast if you're watching in the Dallas Cowboy uniform. Andy Dalton, undervalued physical ability is how I'd like to make the first thing there, just with him. Not that he's going to wow you or anything like that, but I don't know if we always give Andy Dalton quite the credit we deserve for, yes, he can make all the throws. He can, and he can make power throws too. Throws a pretty good deep ball. He's a better athlete than we give him credit for. Not that, again, he's going to turn the corner and run 30-yard gains, but he can move around the pocket and scramble for a 10-yard gain when he needs to. Those things are what he does, let alone consistency, knowing how to play the game. And, where I would go, there's the game manager talk, right, with some quarterbacks. He's a little bit more than a game manager to me. So, we talked about Teddy Bridgewater, where I always use the phrase, not going to lose you games, but not going to win you games either. Andy Dalton, for the most part, is a not going to lose you games, but I do think there's a little bit more of an aspect of can win you a game.
Number 28 on your list, another exciting prospect is
Trevor Lawrence. That's right. Oh, baby, look at that. There's me with my long hair and Trevor Lawrence. You tricky tricksters, you. Man, look at that. There's the man, the stud. Yeah. I mean, the franchise. What do you want me to say about Trevor Lawrence? I mean, I'm a huge fan. I know people think I'm a hater because I put Zach Wilson in front of him. But, man, Trevor Lawrence, come on. What can't he do on a football field? I mean, I'm pumped. We talk about, he brings to me everything to the table. The things that we talked about, first off, on the field, we know, skills for days. Big, can run, can scramble. It's different than running. Running is like, I kept the ball on the read option off the left edge. Scrambling is like, wait, the pocket's closing down. I got to dance around and then escape and get out. He can do that. Throws the ball well on the run. Can throw under pressure. Has a big-time arm that has room for improvement, as you've heard me say throughout the process, mechanically, to improve his power, any of those type of things. There's room to grow there. In a lot of ways, I like that. And then, when we talked about, maybe things that, Andy Dalton and Jared Goff lack and things like that. Trevor Lawrence does not lack any of those. He walks on the field and you go, there's f***ing Trevor Lawrence. He's the man. You know that right away. He brings something to his team with his presence and the way he acts and all of those type of things too.
From 28 and Trevor Lawrence, we go to 27 and
Zach Wilson, New York Jets. That's right. Oh, baby, there's me and Zach. Oh, wait, haters, get away from me. Woo! I like that one. That was cool. Yes, I'm all in on Zach Wilson. He's my guy. I love him. Of course, I love Trevor Lawrence, as I just discussed. But Zach Wilson, he's just got an appeal to my eye that the other quarterbacks did not have in this draft. First off, I think his talents are special. You know that. I think his throwing is out of this world special. I mean, again, I don't think anybody's really going to doubt that anymore. I think he put that to rest after his pro day, where it's like people kind of wanted to fight against it, but then they saw that and they were like, okay, that's really good. Like people like Trevor Lawrence sending out an Instagram message going, sheesh, like, which I respect out of Trevor Lawrence, like basically going like, whoa, I'm awesome, but that was freaking awesome. Like, that's cool. And that's what I think Zach Wilson is. I think he's one of those guys, if you talk to people who have seen him in person, it's always, I saw him in person. Oh, yeah, he's a little faster. Oh, he's a little more explosive. Oh, his arm, dude, the ball explodes. That's what you hear after you hear from
He's
people.
not a giant, too, but he's bigger than you think.
He's bigger than you think.
Right?
Exactly right. He's not a giant. He's Aaron Rodgers-type quarterback. That size. It's 6'2", it's 215, 220-ish, right around there. But, incredible athlete, can really run. As far as, like, in the pocket, I told you before, I thought Mac Jones was probably the best in-the-pocket quarterback in the draft. I think this guy's second.
Number 26 on your list.
Staying in New York, DJNY. That's right, Daniel Jones, New York Giants. Yeah, Daniel Jones. I mean, again, this is a huge year. We know that. This is a make-or-break year for Daniel Jones in his career, really, I think, if he wants to continue to be the unchallenged starting quarterback for the New York Giants. Again, he's got all the skills and attributes to be a really good franchise quarterback, but it's got to come together, and they got to help him bring it together. I don't know. I don't necessarily like to say the make or break year type of thing and make that type of statement, but it's as big of a year 3 as I feel like for a quarterback as I can remember, because I just feel like people here in New York are questioning it. There was the question already, like you talked about, when he got picked at number 6 3 years ago in the NFL draft. I was one that, yes, did not think he was worthy of that draft pick. But here, when you break down Daniel Jones and why I say, like, the potential's there, the guy has all the tools to be really, really damn good and do some special things and lead the Giants. You've seen him run. His athleticism's real. I mean, he was second on their team in rushing last year.
Let's do it.
25, Jameis Winston, New Orleans Saints, okay? Jameis Winston's one of those guys, hey, he's a hard guy to place. We know his top-end play is special. It is. But we know, again, it's the old adage with Jameis Winston, the bottom-end play is really bad at times. Now, I don't expect that if he does get a chance here to play with Sean Payton. I think he's going to clean things up, and hopefully he's learned from Drew Brees and his approach and all of those things too. But he's a hard guy to get a feel for exactly of where he is in, this process right now, because, hey, 2 years ago, he played from the Bucs, and we know he did some good things. But, was really, really careless with the ball almost that whole entire year. And still too many plays of like, wait, you've played too long and too good in certain spots to make those plays, as we've discussed. So we'll see. Can Sean Payton beat that out of him a little bit? I would bet on yes, but I don't know that yet. So Jameis Winston's one of those guys that I look at and I go, yeah, he's sitting here at 25. He ends up being the starter with the New Orleans Saints. He's a top 10 talent in football when he plays clean and smart and realizes, like, where the break is every now and then. Not every play has to be the last play of the game, or like you have to make magic happen. That's the big thing with Jameis Winston. I'm rooting for him, and of course, this is one of the most intriguing quarterback battles of the NFL season.
Jameis very much connected to number 24. Which is quite a hint. Actually, teammates with quarterback 24.
I'm going with Taysom Hill. I gave him the slight advantage. Taysom Hill, number 24, New Orleans Saints. Hey, listen, it's tough. I understand. Taysom Hill's not your traditional quarterback. From the traditional quarterback standpoint, I would rank Jameis Winston in front of Taysom Hill. But the thing is, tradition is gone. Sorry, the NFL has changed. Quarterbacks don't just stand in the pocket and pick you apart anymore. There's more to it than that. And that's where, like, Taysom Hill has to be evaluated less as a quarterback, but a little bit more like the guys that are in his mold of a type of quarterback. A force of nature. Yeah, it might not always be 70% picking you apart, but it's going to be more about his skill set, what it brings to the offense, and then the pressure he puts on the defense, where it can't be quantified with stats or quarterback ratings, but you can come away, and I can watch games with you last year and go, look at this. This team had to play this defense because they're worried about Taysom. So now this guy's open on a pass game. oh, look at this. They're playing this defense because they're worried about this one pass play Sean Payton likes to run, and they got to respect the Taysom Hill run game. So now they're compromised and stopping this one area. That's where you have to look at the Taysom Hills of the world and evaluate it. So, yeah, I don't know if he's not as good as a pure passer as Jameis Winston, but he takes care of the football. He's a special runner. He does throw the ball and have an elite power in his arm. And he's pretty damn accurate. He really is. And I just think that will continue to get better and better, as we go. As I said last year, he was towards the bottom of my top 40 rankings last year, and it was more predicated on, the few snaps he got a quarterback the year before that and the preseason, because I remember that preseason just going, man, the 2019 preseason, I believe it was, where I just went, Taysom Hill's starting to look really comfortable at quarterback. Like, he's moving the offense and doing things. Then we got to see 4 games last year. It was real good. Number 23, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Okay, here's my first thing I want to say about Ryan Fitzpatrick. He went to Harvard. Did you know that? I know, I'm joking. That's all I feel like. Everybody always says that. Fitztragic is over. Get over it. It's done. See, I'm not going to hold myself to that thought anymore. Even though, listen, that was a real thing for a time where it was either Fitzmagic or then the next game was Fitztragic. We've seen enough years here of it's not really Fitztragic anymore. That's old stuff. Let's evolve. Let's self-scout thyself.
2 years, Miami, 33 touchdowns, 21 picks. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Not great.
It's not perfect. Right. Exactly right. But again, too, you can, we get into their team, how they played, lack of playmakers at receiver, all tragic. Those things. It's not tragic. Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's the point. And Fitzpatrick, too, he brings a few things to the team. First off, he's aggressive. He makes plays in the pass game with his arm and his aggressive decision-making and things like that. And you can see he's grown here just in the last 6 seasons in all statistical categories. But the other thing I'll give, where I gave Ryan Fitzpatrick maybe a little bump too, as compared to other guys that we don't look at as like big-time stars or, franchise-type quarterbacks, moves pretty well, moves way better than you think. Every game you watch Ryan Fitzpatrick, there's a few scrambles or runs where you go, man, I forgot he can do that. It was 3rd and 8, and he got a 10-yard gain, stuff like that. He's very good at that. And, listen, you don't have to agree with me. Here, you tell me.
Yeah.
I think he brings a little edge to the football team. I think there is a leadership factor with Fitzpatrick. Even though everybody knows he's not the franchise of the future, he has a way and an edginess about him and how he acts on the field, and he does all these crazy things, and his beard, and, the guy pulled my head off and I still threw a 30-yard completion for a first down in the Raiders game, right? There is an edge about his game that is infectious to a football team, and that's why I gave him a little bump too.
All right, 25, Jameis Winston. 24, his teammate, Taysom Hill. 23, Ryan Fitzpatrick, bringing us to 22.
Ooh, 22. Guy I got a lot of crap for. Everybody thought he should have been in the top 10 halfway through the year.
He was in the top 10 2 years ago.
2 years ago he was, but he's not right now. I got to see more. Big Ben. That's right. Big Ben, Big Ben, Big Ben, Big Ben. Man, I love me some Big Ben. Yes, he's fallen down the rankings a little bit. I think it's pretty obvious of why. Come on, anybody watching football last year, it wasn't his best year. There's no doubt about that. I don't know how banged up he was. I know he played through some knee injuries and things like that. He was coming back from the elbow surgery. Yeah, I get it. I know he had to deal with that. I still think he's got talent. I do. I still think you can win a Super Bowl with Big Ben. But, it was underwhelming towards the end of last year. Oh, I'm sure he wasn't at 100%. I can't sit here and say, though, on film that I felt like his elbow was a part of the issue. I don't think that. He was second and third in football in passing attempts. So if his arm was really bothering him or not 100%, I don't think Pittsburgh would have thrown the ball 608 times, is what I'm saying. Lack of mobility, sometimes lack of aggressive throws down the field, all of those things. I think that's where right now I just question where Big Ben is at. And that's why I put him at 22. Yeah, that's really the biggest reason. And I do want to emphasize, I do think they can still win with him. This is not like, oh man, he's 22, it's over. Right. No, they just gotta do the right thing on the offensive side of the ball to help him and be the best team they can be with this current roster they have.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, what I've said on PFT many times is they got to take the Brady and Buccaneers route.
And we're going way out west. Another super interesting quarterback situation at 21.
I know. We're going Jimmy G at 21. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy G. Oh, there's my man Kyle Shanahan. We're in our Texas uniforms. Woo, 1-87. That was a deadly combination. But, yeah, Jimmy G, 21. Gosh, availability is an issue. Let's just start right there.
First term I had written down.
I mean, of course. How it's the first thing you have to think about. It's why the 49ers drafted a quarterback in the first round. Even when he's healthy and, yes, they win and all that, they've sent you the signals. Yeah, we're winning. We don't think he's playing good enough still. They've been telling us for 2 years. Everything. Just listen to John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan. And let alone all the things we know about trying to trade or get Tom Brady or Matthew Stafford and Deshaun Watson and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to trade to get the. So they're telling you that, yeah, health is an issue, but even when he plays, we're not exactly in love with it. We're not like, oh, man, he's awesome. We want to keep him for 10 years. There's issues there that way. He's physically limited in his ability to move in the pocket or extend plays. And then his arm is really NFL average, but he has a quick release and great, anticipation. So that saves him a little bit. And that's where he's really good. Man, he is good in the pocket and, people around, and he can kind of get his feet awkward and just flick it and do things like that and get the ball out of his hands really quick. So I love that aspect of him. But is he going to make plays out of the realm of the offense a whole lot? Absolutely not. And to me, that's where kind of he falls into the 21 category.
How about number 20 on your list? Found a new team last year and is back this year.
That's right. Cam Newton, number 20. That's right. Cam Newton's still one of the 20 best quarterbacks in football for my money. I know the quarterback throwing stats might not show it. All right, I get it. Like we've talked about with some other quarterbacks, though, on this list already. It's not about the quarterback stats all the time. It's the effect you have on the football game. He's a little bit of a force of nature that way. And I think that sometimes gets a little swept under the rug when you talk about Cam Newton. I understand it wasn't all pretty last year, but I think there are some outside circumstances that you have to be realistic about with Cam Newton and break down and go, well, this led to some issues and some problems, not only because of their football team, but because of COVID and everything we've talked about. But Cam Newton still has got one of the greatest presence of all quarterbacks on the NFL football field. You've heard all New England Patriots players talk. He's a great leader. He's a great worker. Those guys, even though they weren't even talented on offense last year, they felt like they could win every game because they're like, damn, we got number one out here. He's Superman. He does special things. And again, I know it's going to be 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions passing. Well, how does the stat line sound when you add 12 rushing touchdowns to that? And it's 20-10 now, right? And he's second on the team in rushing.
592 yards rushing.
You add those stats to his passing numbers. They had no room for error, this football team. And that's where I defend him. So I understand. Yeah, we got to fix some of the passing things, and that's a real issue. There's no doubt about that. But I guess I'm confident he's going to fix those things because of what I saw before COVID. And then there was enough inklings after he got back in the rhythm later in the year to make me feel that way too. And I'm also, hey, do I know things up in New England and things like that? Of course I do to a degree. But I also know how high of a regard they hold him in and what he does for their team and their and their locker room too. So that's where I'm high on Cam Newton.
Number 19 on the Chris Simms list is?
I'm going to go with Sam Darnold right here. Yeah. Hello, I'm a historian. My name's Chris Simms. I'm reading Quarterback of the Future. Bam, there's Sam Darnold. Yeah, I'm excited about Sam Darnold. I mean, we're going to see. We're going to get answers about Sam Darnold this year. Let's not be unrealistic. What did we really expect from Sam Darnold in that offense? That's the first thing I would tell people who want to go, you have him at 19? Did you see their offense or their record last year? Okay. What about it? Where did it go wrong? Was it the throwing to Braxton Berrios as your main target, or throwing to Chris Hogan, who's playing lacrosse, and he was your main target for a few weeks? Like, come on. Like you've heard me say, you're surrounded by you're going to look like every now and then. And so that is the problem with Sam Darnold. They never gave him support. But Darnold, still has, to me, all the physical attributes to be a big-time franchise quarterback. I see it. I don't care about the results and the stats and the win-loss. I can see it. Sam Darnold has a little of everything to his football game. Now, we just haven't been able to see it because they don't support him. He hasn't had that. But you heard me say, quick release, phenomenal intermediate thrower. I thought he got better at deep ball throwing last year. I think he is really damn good in the pocket, like really damn good. He's tough. He can throw under pressure. Now we're going to see some pieces around him to really prove my point. I hope that's what we see, at least.
I'm rooting for him. He's one of those quarterbacks where people are starting to give up on him. I want him to prove people wrong.
Right.
And I think the same can be said for number 18 on your list of your top 40 NFL quarterbacks going into next year. That player is?
We got a faller, but it's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, yes. Number 18, the Indianapolis Colts. And Carson Wentz, come on, anybody that's been following me knows how I feel about this guy. I mean, yeah, last year was rough. We're talking about a guy that's got a good arm. He's a phenomenal athlete. He has great size. And even though the year wasn't great last year, I get that. The circumstance around him, just like the two guys we talked about already, and Sam and Cam Newton, was really bad. As they've told you this offseason, they told you they blew it up. They blew it up in Philadelphia because it needed to be blown up. Wentz gave them the false sense of security to hang on to it one year too long. And even with all that, again, I always will go back to Wentz. Even though with that year, he's shown me the ability to play at an extremely high level. So I'm not going to just knock him to 29 because of 1 year. They went onto the field almost in every game other than Darnucci at quarterback with the Cowboys, going that game and the Bengals game where you go, okay, maybe they should have won those games. The rest of them, they were the lesser team on the field for the most part.
Carson Wentz was hurt by our high expectations of that team.
Exactly.
We inflated how good they were.
Me too. I mean, I'm not saying I'm exactly right. It all hurt Carson Wentz, and now he's going to give a big FU with the horseshoe U to the rest of the country, I think, after this year's over.
Wild fluctuations.
I know.
With this guy in his rookie year. You had him 26 to start. He was up to 9th in November when you did a re-rank. And now he is at 17.
He's at 17 really because of the current status of his injury. And I don't think that he's going to be 100% when this year starts, especially with that injury coming, at week 10 or 11 during the regular season. But Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Cool. That's the man right there. I love Joe. And really, realistically, if he doesn't get hurt and continues on the trend he's in, he's definitely right around the top 10. There's no doubt about it. The guy has it all. There's only one thing missing from Joe Burrow's game, maybe a little bit more of an explosive element from his right arm, which I believe he's even talked about here recently. And he adjusted it during the year last year. But, man, when I go back and watch Joe Burrow, I mean, first off, it's just like, is this really a rookie? That's the kind of jump back when you watch him. You just go, damn. I mean, plays the position the right way, gets the ball out of his hands, throws with great accuracy, understands, like, the fine line of, like, ooh, this is like a smart chance to take, and this is just absolutely stupid. He only had like 1 or 2 or 3 plays where I can go back and look and go, all right, that was a stupid rookie play. All right, he'll learn from that. He doesn't have that rocket arm like Josh Allen or Mahomes, but when he gets out of the pocket, he is still looking to throw. Right. And that's what I love about him. It's not about, let me get out and let me just run all the time. He's looking to get out and let me manipulate or do something that way. And he got better and better at that as the year went on. So, yeah, Joe Burrow is definitely knocked down because of the current status of his knee and where I think he'll be to start the year. Week 10, if we do another updated rankings, don't be shocked if he's back to the top 10.
Let's go with number 16 without further ado. And this could be a little controversial.
Yeah, we're getting to nitpicky time. Oh, that's right. There he is, Florio. Oh, he loves him not. Yes, it's Kirk Cousins coming in at number 16. Listen, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in football right now. Kirk Cousins is really damn good. You're right. But we're getting into the territory now where we're getting to guys that are the real deal Holyfield. And it does get nitpicky. I think the first thing that I say, hey, is Kirk Cousins underrated to a degree? Certainly. I agree with that. I just can't say he's better than the 15 guys I got in front of him. I don't know if he necessarily gets the appreciation he deserves. I would agree with that 100%. We're talking about one of the best processors of information in all of football. I will say that. His ability to drop back, come off of a play-action pass, read and diagnose the defense and make a decision quickly is as good as the top quarterbacks in the game. He's great in that department. There's no doubt. He has an aggressive frame of mind, and he's a pretty damn good down the field thrower of the football. That's what I like about Kirk Cousins. But there is a system element to Kirk Cousins. You know that. And I don't want to say he's a system quarterback because he's not. Like, I don't know what the phrase I would say. He's system plus, okay? Because he can add more because of his ability to throw the ball into tight windows and do things like that to your offense. But for this day and age of 2021, he's a below-average athlete for NFL quarterbacking. Below average. I mean, it's towards the bottom, actually, of football when you talk about scrambling, moving in the pocket, just hopping around the pocket. It's not good.
He's not a statue, though.
He's not a statue. He's not. I mean, he's good with bootlegs and things like that. There's no doubt. But the statues in football, again, our era, we grew up with statues and things like that. It's slowly going away. It has to. It's like we talked about with Daniel Jones before and those things. Like the game is too chaotic. The pass rushers are too good. The blitzers are too good. Everybody's going for the ball and strips and fumbles and stuff like that. Like the day of just sitting there in the pocket is over. You got to be able to do some other things.
The next guy on your list, there was some question whether Atlanta would start to move on from number 15 on your top 40 quarterback countdown
That's
list.
right. Matty Ice, baby. Matt Ryan. I mean, again, we're talking. I mean, Matt Ryan's a freaking legend of the game. I don't know what to say. Again, it doesn't make me feel proud to sit here and tell you that Matt Ryan, I think, is the 15th best quarterback in football right now. Again, another guy that I look at, you can win a Super Bowl. You can do special things. Matt Ryan is still capable of playing at a very high level. He is phenomenal and throwing the football between 10 and 20 yards. He's an unbelievable between 10 and 20-yard thrower of the football. He really is. Again, with like a Kirk Cousins, his ability to process and just, read it, diagnose it, let me cock it back and throw it. It's as good as there is. I mean, it's phenomenal that way. Now, he doesn't throw the ball down the field as well as Kirk Cousins, but the other thing that he has a clear advantage over Kirk Cousins, in my opinion here, is the fact that Matt Ryan's movement, and anybody that's been listening to my cornerback rankings, it's always, every year when I go back and look at plays, it always amazes me, for the last 3 especially, how much more he moves than I realize or want to give him credit for. That's the biggest thing about his game. There is some, not always a scramble, but, man, there's pressure, and he's running up in the pocket, and then he throws the 15-yard crosser. Or he moved in the pocket and made a little move, and it's an ugly run, but it ended up in being a 15-yard completion down the field. He does get out of the pocket and make those plays. He's pretty good at throwing with pressure off his back foot and doing those type of things.
Because I feel like your next one is a lot like Kirk Cousins. A lot of people just take him for granted.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the love that perhaps he deserves, but has been an above-average quarterback for a while.
Definitely. And way above average, in my opinion, last year. And that's Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders. We got to start giving him a little bit of respect. The guy's playing the position at a really high level. And here I am. He's barely in front of, Cousins and Matt Ryan, but I'm going to have a lot more positive talk because I feel like the talk is always negative around Derek Carr, that I have to defend him this way.
And he was 19 last year on your list, so he is moving up.
He is moving up. How could he not? I mean, he played, he had games last year that he played perfectly. He's efficient. He's accurate with the football. He really never loses control of the football. My big complaint about him last year was like, let's go. Let it rip a little. Like, let it hang out. Throw the rifle down the middle of the field. Don't throw like, I just want to touch it in there and make sure I get the completion. No, throw the rifle so Darren Waller can catch it, run in for a touchdown. He did that. Is there still more of it I'd like to see? No freaking doubt. But that's why I like him. He's got it in him to be a little bit more of a flamethrower than even what we saw last year. I still think there's more. But he understands the offense. He's very rarely puts them in a bad situation with how he executes that way. And then I thought some of his play was phenomenal last year.
Number 13 on the Chris Simms top 40 quarterbacks right now in the NFL is
Baker Mayfield. Yeah. What up, Baker Mayfield at number 13? I mean, Baker Mayfield is a guy, again, if somebody told me I think he's the number 9 or 10 quarterback in football, I'd go, okay. I mean, I get it. I'm not going to fight against it. I mean, it was a huge year for Baker Mayfield. And really, I think the biggest thing I would just say is it's an elite arm. He's an elite passer, an elite thrower, whatever you want to talk about that way. But, like, I think the biggest thing that jumped out to me was the amount of high-level, high-degree difficulty throws that Baker Mayfield made throughout the year, and he doesn't blink or doesn't flinch, and he hits the bullseye. Ding, 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 bullseye. I mean, really, that I think when I went back and watched, that was the thing I looked at. I mean, again, obviously he was more confident and knows the offense. Mm-hmm. You know, like Derek Carr, not necessarily the greatest runner, but a great mover. Can make people, oh, is one guy free? Oh, I broke his ankles. Now I'm free and I can set up and make a throw. Oh, it's a bootleg. The guy on the edge didn't go for the fake. He's right there. Oh, I made a miss. Now I'm on the run and I made a throw and finished the bootleg. Oh, it's a bootleg. And there's a guy 25 yards down the field screaming across the field, going 1,000,000 miles per hour. He's open by 1/4 of an inch. I don't care. I'll rip it in there. Rips it in there. There's so many of those type of throws. In cuts where I go, ooh, are you going to throw that? Ooh, what a throw. Like, perfect throw. There's too many of those throws where they were almost Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes-ish, where you go, oh, is he really going to throw that? Oh, good throw. Ooh. Oh, my gosh, that was lucky. Wait, it's the 27th time I've said that. It's not lucky. He's that good now. And that's where I think Baker Mayfield made the big jump.
And number 12 is
Ryan Tannehill. Tennessee Titans. That's right, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, you know, where do you want to start with Ryan Tannehill? I think the thing that I always want to just jump out and say for him is maximization, never leaving yards out on the field. That's where Ryan Tannehill is the best to me. He takes advantage of every little big play that's there to be had in football. I could sit here and argue that I think he's maybe one of the best deep ball throwers in football. I would sit here and argue it. I would say he's one of the most accurate 10-plus yard throwers of the football out of anybody in the sport. Not only just because he gets the completions, but it's like you always hear me talk about this. If a guy's open for a 60-yard touchdown on a deep post route, he doesn't throw it 45 and the guy gets tackled at the 8-yard line and, ooh, maybe we get a touchdown, maybe we kick a field goal. He puts it on the money and it's touchdowns. It's deep crossers going across the field. They don't have to stop or regather or do anything. They get to go full speed because he puts it on the money. A.J. Brown never breaks stride. That leads to big yards after the catch. I think that's the biggest thing I look at with Ryan Tannehill and the biggest positives about his game. And he's just gotten better and better, and, of course, is in a great offense and a great fit for him, along with being a really good athlete, too. I mean, again, it's 33 touchdowns. It's 7 interceptions. It's top 5 quarterback rating. It's 7 rushing touchdowns to go along with it. We're talking about a really good football player, a guy here that you could certainly justify being in the top 10. I have him at 12 because there's 12 good quarterbacks in football right now, like real good ones.
All right, if you really want to leap into the future, though, you can jump on the back of our next quarterback, number 11 on your list, who moved up from 37th last year. This is the biggest leap of any quarterback in the Chris Simms Top 40 this year. That player is
Justin Herbert. That's right. Oh, big Justin Herbert. Nope, he didn't fall off any treadmills this year. He's still running. He's doing good. Look at that big sucker right there. Big soldier in the pocket. As I've told you with everyone, I go back, I start to watch just the right ideas, jot things, do things like that, and I just come back and just go like, holy cow, Batman. It's just one unreal throw after another from Justin Herbert. His arm is unreal strong, and he can do it with great ease. I think that's the thing that you just got to talk about right away. It's already one of the 5 best arms and throwers maybe in football. I think he's right there in that conversation for like what he can do as far as, you know, down the field throwing, accuracy in the intermediate short game. You know, it's a pretty quick release. It's not the quickest. It's probably something he can improve on a little bit. But, like, you know, you talk about all of those things, the elite throwing ability, the accuracy and everything like that. And then, like, also the ability to where, you know, I could sit here and say, with people around him and in the trash, he's already one of the best in football at that. You know, the pocket collapsing. He's so big and just such a big man, he can throw over pressure like big quarterbacks we've seen, whether it's Cam Newton or Brady and Peyton Manning. So, people are in his face, and people are like, quarterbacks never like when, you know, there's a pass rush in their face. Yeah, of course they don't. But, like guys like him, yeah, it's in their face, and they can still see 15, 20 yards down the field and make the appropriate throw. That's the amazing thing. Back foot throws with people in his face that way. Unreal. Another guy that's an incredible athlete and can get out of the pocket and make big-time throws on the run.
And now it takes us to our top 10. Our top 10 quarterbacks, which is a good time to stop down and talk about another quarterback who didn't make this list.
Yeah.
And he's the Super Bowl winning quarterback from last year, Tom Brady. Explain what... No, just kidding. He has made it into the top 10. Tom Brady has cracked the top 10 of the Chris Simms Top 40 countdown.
That's right. Tom Brady, number 10, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Booyah. That's right, Tom. Put that trophy in everybody's face and say, screw you. Screw you, Chris Simms, for not having me in the top 10 for a while.
You had him 15 last year.
Yeah.
You had him 9 in 2019.
Right. And I think last year when we did the updated, like, Week 10 rankings, you know, I had him right around 12 or 13, somewhere in there. You know, it just, again, through 10 weeks last year, it wasn't exactly great all the time. That's you know, we can't forget that. There was some games lost and some sloppy play that were definitely Tom Brady's fault. Now, listen, you give some wiggle room, I know. But we saw a different Tom Brady last year. We saw a different one. And anybody that's been listening to me, you know what I'm talking about here. Like, Brady's arm's never been the question. The last few years in New England, you know my complaints about him. Unwillingness to stand in there in the pocket, take hits, do things to throw the ball down the field. Now, he had a great pass protection last year and, of course, had weapons and everything else. But to me, that's where he redefined himself. That's why they won the Super Bowl. Because he was willing to stand in there in the pocket and push the ball down the field.
Number 9 is a guy who we saw only briefly last year, unfortunately, because he was off to an unbelievable start.
Dak Prescott. Don't forget about him just because his ankle was turned the wrong way, okay? All right? Don't forget. This guy, there is a side eye to me going, nope, I'm not accepting any less money than maximum amount. But to me, this is like the big soldier, the ultimate leader. I mean, just you go back and watch Dak Prescott, you don't realize how awesome he is until you watch. You don't realize that, man, Dallas Cowboys, they didn't have a prayer if Dak Prescott ain't in the game early on in the year. I mean, as I said to you before the podcast, I said, you know what's crazy about Dak Prescott? Forget this talent and that he's got, again, I know we're in a run here of guys that are really had awesome years throwing the ball down the field. And I know Prescott only played 4 or 5 games, but they're a team, again, other than a slant route, they're looking to strike. They're not like, there's no like bubble screens and all that. They drop back and they want 20, 30-yard completions to their high-octane weapons at wide receiver and doing that. And he's amazing at that. He's like a Tannehill, like, just there's never yards left on the field. It's never like, ooh, the guy's wide open down the middle and he had to turn around and he fell down and he went down there. No, it's on the money. The guy keeps running. It's a touchdown.
At number 8, who's on your mind?
That's right. Matthew Stafford is on my mind. Yeah, Matthew Stafford. You say what you want. I don't give a damn. Go ahead. Start the hate right now. Yep. You know who's going to get the last laugh if you start the hate right now? Me, because he's on a team now, and everybody's going to see what he's really worthy of this year. So I'll get the last laugh because I'm going to go, oh, yeah, you thought it was just him. It's just him. He's the only reason Detroit hasn't gone to the playoffs and wins playoff games. Yeah, right. He still has one of the greatest game-changing arms in the history of the NFL and still one of the best game-changing arms, most explosive arms in the NFL right now at this moment. That's where it starts. You can say what you want, but he does things with his right arm that very few people in this league can do. You know, it's in the echelons of Mahomes, Rodgers, and Josh Allen. It's those far as you just want to talk about crazy, gifted, unbelievable throws that nobody else on the planet can make. That's what he does, and he makes them look so routine and things at times, and because they don't win or go to the playoffs, we just kind of go, huh? But, like, if anybody sat down and watched some film with me and we watched Matthew Stafford, you're going to come away with a lot more plays than you realize to go, holy shit, what a throw. Holy shit, what great movement in the pocket, and then what a throw. And it's just going to be one thing after another, and what you'll slowly start to realize is, like, their team would just be absolute garbage if it's not for him. And that's all there is to be said. So, yes, is he perfect? No. But I think a lot of the problems Matthew Stafford has are team-related, people around him related, offensive scheme-related, and we're in this era of we just blame one guy, and, of course, I don't like that.
It's like we're staying in the NFC West for number 7.
That's right. We're going to Kyler Murray. That's right. Oh, baby, Kyler Murray. There's me putting my makeup on. Damn, I'm good at it. I don't know why they use that, but Kyler Murray. Wow, where to start? I'm not sure if there's anybody that has more effect on their team's success and their offense in football maybe than Kyler Murray, okay? That's a bold statement.
It is.
Not saying he's the best quarterback in football, but, man, does he have a tremendous effect because of his God-given talents to what their team is. And we've showed some of the spray charts from last year and things like that, how predictable DeAndre Hopkins' route tree, he stayed in one area the whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the same thing. So there's not a lot of diversity there. And how they overcome it is because they have a quarterback who's got 3 rockets up his ass. He's got a rocket for an arm, and he's cool and calm under pressure. And that, to me, is where, he's different that way.
Do you think Cliff Kingsbury is holding him back a little bit? Because he's also the offensive coordinator.
I know. Yeah, I do. I think it has to improve. I have to. I know you remember me last year just going, there's got to be more to the offense. It can't be shotgun, 4 wide, throw the ball quick, all game long. There's got to be more to the route combinations. There's got to be more formations and personnel sets just to change it up. And I think that's the big thing for me. But still, when you look at all that and you say, yeah, it's really not that impressive, I'm not scared of their offense, you look at it statistically and go, well, they're at the top of football, and that's because this guy and what he can do with his pure ability. Bringing us to number 6, that's right, Lamar Jackson. La, 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 la. La 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 la.
What is that?
La 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 la. Lamar Jackson.
What song is that?
Do do dee do.
It's very 70s-ish.
It is. I mean, this is still
drop from 5 to 6.
Drop to 5 to 6. Sorry.
Minor.
Yep. I'm sorry, but we're still talking about maybe the most dangerous weapon in football in Lamar Jackson. Okay, yeah, most dangerous weapon. Maybe not the most dangerous pocket passing quarterback and doing things like that. But, man, Lamar Jackson, first off, we know it's still in the class of the greatest running quarterback we've ever seen. And even though last year was less than maybe some of the years before, it's still phenomenal. And again, he's like some of these other quarterbacks we've talked about. The pressure he puts on you because of that skill set is, you can't qualify it or quantify it. It's unbelievable what he does that way. And, of course, they've done a great job of putting people around him that help that out. But I think the other thing, too, with Lamar Jackson, the stats won't say it and all of that. Lamar Jackson improved as a pocket passer last year.
Really?
He definitely did. Actually, every time I go back and watch it, the more and more confident I feel about that.
That he was better.
Let's
run the stats, Pete.
Because the stats won't say it, I'm sure.
Because the stats are down, whether it's pass. Yeah. I mean, every way you would measure his unbelievable MVP season went to a really, really, really good season.
Really, really good season, exactly.
Statistically.
And, hey, listen, it's just like we've seen with anything in the history of football. 2019, he was a part of something that had never really been unveiled in football.
Right.
Like, whoa, this team went all in on running quarterback and has a million different running plays and 3 different running backs and 3 different – he caught the league by surprise.
Right.
So that led to huge stats.
Yes. And thinking about that too, Chris,
yeah.
Put 2019 aside. Unbelievable season. 2020, if he has 10 more of those seasons, if he has 8 more of those seasons where he's mid-60% throwing the ball, better than 3-to-1 touchdown interception, runs for over 1,000 yards, that's first ballot Hall of Fame.
No doubt about it.
If only there was just some news and some drama around your 5th-rated quarterback.
It's been a quiet offseason.
What we can manufacture here for number 5.
Quiet offseason, and it's not Aaron Rodgers. It's Russell Wilson. I didn't want anybody to think wrong there, okay? But Russell Wilson, that's right. Number 5 quarterback in football. I mean, yes, there's no doubt that he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the game. There's not. I mean, the 4 in front of him are really freaking good. Okay, so it was tough for me to put ahead of him. But, I mean, we're talking about a guy here that's as clutch as they come in football. You could make a case he's one of the best deep ball throwers in football.
Yeah.
And then added to that, we know he's maybe the best at not the best, but towards the top of football at extending plays and making plays outside the pocket. Russell Wilson's still amazing that way. There's no doubt. So, yeah, he's talented. He's got great leadership, fortitude. There's a presence on the field. He has one of those auras about him, to me at least. You tell me if you agree. When he gets the ball late in the game and they're down, I'm just going, well, they're going to score.
You expect him to make it happen.
You expect it. Yeah. He's one of those short list guys where you just go, it's going to happen. In fact, you're shocked when it doesn't happen. You're just like, what?
Like 4th and 12 tight game late. Like, you're surprised
that he doesn't get it done.
If he doesn't. Yeah.
He's to that that point to where you just go, if they're close in the fourth corner, I'm going with Russell Wilson. I mean, as long as they keep it close, he do.
And let's begin with the top 4. With a number 4, a controversial character here. Got offseason issues. Obviously, we'll talk about that in a second, but here is a Deshaun Watson.
That's right. I mean, hey, listen, we're talking about what's going on the football field here. Let's just be, upfront with that.
This is secondary, but this is the top 40 quarterback list, and what he did last year was very impressive.
Well, he's a special football player. As far as between the lines go, he is definitely one of the best our sport has to offer. And really, what I want to say is just like, what more can he do? Really, what more can he do? He's phenomenal in every aspect. There's really no weakness to his game. He's a great example of just saying, listen, see, you need a team. You can't, I don't care who you are. Watson is phenomenal. He maximizes everything. He is an elite passer, thrower of the football. He wants to stay in the pocket to the very last second possible. And then his movement, come on, it's as good as anybody in the sport, really, other than maybe Lamar and Kyler Murray and maybe another guy here or there. But, like, whether that's hopping around the pocket to make throws or getting out of the pocket and being the Tasmanian devil in it and then getting out to make a play, he's special that way. So he delivers everything that's there to be had within the offense. Watson is one of the kings of kind of knowing when that point is to go, wait, we're down 14-0, nothing's happened. I got to start to push the envelope. Now, the team fails him at times in those scenarios where he might get a few first downs, and then it's first down completion, second down completion, and it's 3rd and 1, and they run the ball up the middle, and they get a 2-yard loss, and they still have to punt it, and you go, well, Watson did everything he can. He can't call the plays and block and run and do all those things. So you got to take all that into account. But a special talent, and he's an incredible deep ball thrower, an incredible playmaker, and he just needs more support around him, plain and simple. That's all there is to the story.
Your number 3 quarterback of 2021 is...
Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Oh. You're still the greatest I've ever seen. Sorry for dropping you to 3. Man, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, I know he's number 3. It hurts my soul. It really does. And hopefully everybody can appreciate this for me just being honest in my evaluation. I don't play favorites, even though this is my favorite quarterback of all time. He is. And I still think he's the greatest I've ever seen. Yeah, that's right. But MVP, I know people are going to have a hard time kind of swallowing, the fact that he's the MVP and it was 45-8 and what are you, or 48-5, excuse me. And he dropped a spot.
So here's the last 3 years for Aaron Rodgers, one of his best just last year.
I still think he tries to play too perfect, to your point.
Okay. So
I do think that a
still
little bit.
maybe a couple more.
I'd have been happy because if he threw 8 or 9 interceptions, he probably had 52 touchdown passes.
48 touchdowns to 5 interceptions.
It's insane. I know.
So he was number 1 on your list in 2018.
Yeah.
Number 1 in 2019. He was number 3 to start last year and then moved up to number 2 in November. Is there anything he can do to get back into that top spot? Is there anything that could happen in 2021 where you say, you know what? I would take Aaron Rodgers over everyone after what I just saw.
Yeah, I mean, if I felt like Allen and Mahomes fell off, I mean, I'm not going to
it would take them slipping up.
I think it's going to take them slipping too, and then him playing still phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to take that.
Yeah.
There's such forces of nature right now, those two.
And number 2 for you then is...
Giddy up, Josh Allen. Giddy up, it's my boy Blue. That's right. Wow. Man, I'm telling you, it's my boy Blue. It's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I went back and forth with this. You can ask the Simms family. Had a lot of conversations. Had a few conversations around football, too, about this specific spot. Because I was like, wait, I'm torn. They're both awesome. They both throw lasers everywhere around the football field. It's unbelievable. When you go back and watch it, I mean, you certainly could argue that Josh Allen was the MVP of football last year. You certainly could. I mean, again, a team with no running system. He was second on their team in rushing. You got to add his 8 touchdown rushes to the mix, too, because it's a big part of what they do. When they get in the 6-7 yard line, they ask Josh Allen to score touchdowns, running the ball. And, he made more game-changing, game-saving, unbelievable plays than maybe anybody in football last year, Josh Allen. And that's why he got the rank. Whether it's 3rd and 22, we're down to the Rams. Oh, wait, that's Aaron Donald on my back? And he shrugs him off and then runs to the right and throws a laser down the middle on 3rd and 22 against the best defense in football. Oh, we needed a touchdown then to go win the game? No problem, guys. Okay. Oh, it's 2nd and 10 in the playoff game. We're on our own 2-yard line. All the momentum's against us. I can't find it. He scrambles to the right, throws a 40-yard bomb perfectly down the right sideline. It's just that all year long. It's all year long. So, yes, Rodgers, more accurate. Definitely a little bit more of the surgical like I'm talking about, but not so much more that he makes up for the difference of what Josh Allen brings to the playmaking table now. Josh Allen really got into surgical mode himself too. You watched him all year last year. He was great from the pocket. But the thing is when there was nobody open or the pocket broke down, you could argue nobody was more dangerous in football than Josh Allen last year.
This is the official unveiling of the Woodford Reserve Bourbon top quarterback in the Chris Simms 2021 rankings. That man is.
That's right. I mean, that's my homie, your homie, my homie. Whenever he's on, I watch my homie, your homie, my homie, my homie and me. That's right. Patrick Mahomes is still the #1 quarterback in football. He's the best player in the NFL. There's really, again, we're talking about a guy that's got no weakness to his football game. There's really not. I mean, everything, whether it's quick decisions, right decisions, unbelievable throws off platforms, throwing in the pocket, subtle moves in the pocket, the ability to extend plays outside the pocket, throwing balls off of, imbalanced footwork and things like that. There's nobody better in the game. And, of course, I don't know if there's a team or an offense that's more based around one guy and his talents, really in the NFL. And literally, I don't know if there's been one more that I can think of really in recent history that he would even compound with that. I mean, it's, again, we're watching a guy who's gone to the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl, and they basically have just gone, here you go, defense, okay, solid, nothing great. It's all on you. Shotgun, we're going to call plays that have never been seen in the history of the NFL, and we just zoom, 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 and you just float around back there and make it happen. Oh, okay, no problem. 2 Super Bowl appearances and an AFC Championship appearance. No big deal. I mean, it's insane what they ask of him, how he delivers. Yes, they're talented, but, I mean, I don't know. I think it speaks for itself. Was it a down year a little bit for him last year? Yeah, okay. He was banged up a little bit here and there, but still, they had the bullseye on their back. Nobody brings more belief and magic to the football field, to their team on a weekly basis than Patrick Mahomes.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.